Hey, welcome to the Biochemistry Academy. In this playlist, we'll talk about membrane biochemistry. Well, in this first video, we'll talk mainly about the introduction to cell membrane. Now, if you remember that cells are the smallest living unit of all organisms, meaning that all living things, which are both animal and plants, are made up of cells. And each cell has an outer boundary or covering that separates the cell from its environment. Now, this boundary is called the cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane is a boundary that separates the interior part of the cell from its environment. The cell membrane is also called the plasma membrane, and the function of the plasma membrane or the cell membrane is that it regulates the transport of materials entering and exiting the cell, meaning that it allows certain substance into the cell and prevents other substance which can be toxic from entering the cell, and this term is known as semi-permeability. Now, lipids and protein are the major components of the cell membrane. Now, it should be noted that the role of the cell wall is different from that of the cell membrane, because most cells except animal cells have cell walls which are composed of carbohydrates, and these carbohydrates are polysaccharide. Now, the role of the cell wall is that it prevents the cell from bursting, as well as it gives the cell shape and structure. Cell walls are porous and they allow almost everything to cross into the cell, while the cell membrane, they regulate what enter or exits the cell. Now let's talk about the common features or the properties of the cell membrane. All membrane are sheet-like fluid structures that sequester to form a closed boundaries. Typically, biological membrane contains lipids, protein, and small amounts of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in ratios varying with the source of the membrane. Now, membranes are amphipathic, meaning that they have a polar region and a non-polar region. Now, example of membranes are the micelles, the bilayers, and the liposomes. Don't worry, in our subsequent video, we'll talk more about the amphipathic nature of cell membrane. And another common feature is that due to the fluid structure of membrane, the lipids and the protein moves freely. We'll also talk about this in the fluid mosaic model to understand more. And let's talk about the function of the cell membrane. 1. The cell membrane acts as a barrier. Now, this barrier helps to maintain the difference in composition between the outside and the inside of the cell. Now, the cell membrane are semi-permeable, meaning that they allow certain substance to enter the cell and they prevent other substance which can be toxic from entering into the cell. Now, another function of the cell membrane is that they contain specific protein which act as transporters to facilitate the movement of small molecules. The cell membrane also play a key role in cell-to-cell interaction, the flow of interaction, and in transmembrane chemical or electrical signaling. Now, the cell membrane also play a key role in energy transduction by specialized enzyme and protein that is embedded on the cell membrane. Now, example is seen in the oxidative phosphorylation and in photosynthesis, because they both take place in the membrane. Now, also some specific protein or enzyme are found only in some membrane, so they can be used as markers, which are used as tools in clinical diagnosis and in fractionation and purification of subcellular organelles. In our next video, we will talk about the fluid mosaic model, and we'll talk about the phospholipid, its structure, and the components of the phospholipid. If this video has helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.